ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुकारस्त्वन्धकारो वै ऋकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Let us recite from the fourth verse. कायवाङ्मनः कार्यमुत्तमम् पूजनं जपश्चिन्तनं क्रमात् जगत ईषधीयुक्तसेवनम् अष्टमूर्तिभृद्देवपूजनम् उत्तमस्तवादुच्चमन्दतः चित्तजं जपध्यानमुत्तमम् आज्यधारया स्रोतसा समम् सरलचिन्तनं विरलतः परम् भेदभावनात् सोऽहमित्यसौ भावनाभिदा पावनीमता भेदभावनात् as compared to a meditation based on Veda Bhavana, based on the duality that Ishvara is different, I am different, I am meditator, and what I am meditating upon, the object of meditation is different from me. That is the usual way of meditation. And that meditation is performed with the help of some symbols, pratika, like some images, etc., or some other symbols. And that's a very common form of meditation. But Ramana Maharshi says that better than that is a meditation where there is this bhavana, there is this spirit of abheda, meaning non-duality. This can be interpreted in two ways. One is meditating upon the Lord with the help of an image, pratika, like an image of Lord Krishna upon which you superimpose the idea of Krishna and meditate. Or use a name or a mantra for meditation. Use some aid for the purpose of meditation. Different kinds of aids are provided. This is all a matter of choice and a matter of convenience. What is convenient to you? If you don't need the aid, you need not have it. If you need the aid, use it. If you can meditate upon Lord without the help of any murti, any vigraha, do that. At the same time, if you need that, make use of it. Important thing is to meditate. Other kind of meditation is called ahangraha upasana. So in one kind of meditation, I superimpose the idea of Lord or God upon an image such as that of Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva, etc. Or other kind of meditation is I superimpose the idea of an Ishvara on my own self, on my ahankara. Meaning that I look upon myself as Ishvara, even though. So, meditation is superimposition. Upasana meaning superimposition. Nikrishta vastuni, utkrishta vastu aropaha. Nikrishta vastuni, on a very small, insignificant thing, you superimpose the idea of something great. Just, for example, a pratima or a murti or image is a small little thing. However big it is, still a very limited thing. Upon that you superimpose the idea of Ishvara, who is omniscient, omnipotent. So this is the idea of meditation or mental worship, where you use a suitable aid in the form of a vigraha, an image, in the form of a symbol, in the form of a name, in the form of a mantra, and superimpose the idea of Ishvara. Other thing is that I superimpose the idea of Ishvara upon my ahankara. That I am Ishvara, I am Hiranyagarbha. Now, for example, the scriptures describe Ishvara as a cosmic person, like a hymn called Purusha Sukta, where Ishvara is prayed or described as a cosmic person. It says that the heaven is the head of this cosmic person. Just as we have different limbs, you imagine that Ishvara also has different limbs. Ishvara manifests as his universe also is made up of different limbs. So just as I have head, I have feet, I have my trunk, eyes, ears, etc. So Ishvara also has a head. Heaven is the head of that cosmic person. Earth is the feet of the cosmic person. Head because this is where all the knowledge is. The organs of perception are there. So heaven is said to be where all the devatas or gods are living, the shining ones. So heaven is compared to the head. Feet is what supports me. Earth supports everything. Therefore, earth is imagined to be the feet of this cosmic person. The space in between is compared to between my head and between my legs. So the space or intermediate space is the trunk of the cosmic person. The sun is the eyes of the cosmic person. The moon is the mind of the cosmic person. Wind is the breath of the cosmic person. The directions are the ears of the cosmic person. So thus you need not have an image. So many Upanishads present many of these kind of meditation because at the time in the Vedas or Upanishads time, they did not have any images or murtis. So the universe itself is the manifestation of Lord, and you can see variety of orders in the universe, variety of harmony, and you visualize that different aspects of Ishvara. Now you can say that heaven is my head, You visualize yourself as a cosmic person. And heaven is my head, earth is my feet, etc. So this also is one way of meditating called ahangraha upasana. Upon aham, upon I superimpose the idea of Ishvara. So that also involves a kind of a non-duality between myself and Ishvara. But the highest non-duality is where I see myself as the consciousness. I see Ishvara also as consciousness. And it is like a little gold ornament meditating upon gold. As long as the ornament has identification with its form, so long it feels separate from other ornaments and may feel separate from gold also. Ignorance. But when the ornament looks upon itself as gold, shifting the identification from the form and the name, when it shifts the identification to the gold, then I am gold. I am the self of all. As gold indeed, the gold is the self of all ornaments, is not so? What is the Atma? What is the self of a bangle? What is it without which bangle cannot be what it is? Gold. Earring, any golden ornament, what is the self or the content or Atma of that ornament? Gold. So if a little nose ring also says I am gold, then it can declare I am the self of all, which is true. What kind of perception a nose ring has for itself? Perceives itself as just a nose ring, then it's a small little insignificant thing. It may suffer from variety of complexes. How necklace is so big, bangles are so shining. They hardly appear, nose ring hardly even can register its presence. Earrings, they do. Sometimes they are, hanging with, for example, diamond. And so when this woman, she moves her face and then they also turn around and shine, So this nose ring can have a variety of complexes. As long as it looks itself as a nose. It's a matter of perception. But when even that little nose ring changes perception that I'm gold, which it is, then it can declare I'm the self of all. I'm one without a second, because at the level of nose ring is different from other ornaments. At the level of gold, it is one. So also I meditate upon myself as consciousness. I'm not this body, I'm not the mind. This will be told later on. But, as I said, it's a matter of our perception of our own self. And therefore, one can meditate upon Ishvara as my own self. I'm not separate from Ishvara. So, what is called bhakti? This is called... So, Ramana Maharshi is describing bhakti in these verses. This is a Vedantin's way of describing bhakti. Bhakti means devotion. And devotion involves surrender or involves offering. When you are devoted to somebody or something, or you love somebody, you express your love by way of offering. So also, when we are devoted to the Lord, we make offerings. And what is the best offering? Offering of yourself. So offering of limited things is no doubt devotion. But the highest devotion is what? When you offer your own self. No, that offering is not an action. It's not that you pull something and offer that. It's not a physical thing. That offering is by virtue of change of perception. As long as you perceive yourself as a limited being, as a limited ego, now you change that perception and I am the consciousness, which is also the self of Ishvara. At the level of the name and form, of course, we are very different. The level of name and form. So I am a person having a personality. Ishvara is also a person having personality. My personality is this little individual, insignificant thing. Ishvara's personality is all this cosmos is personality. So at the level of personality, that is, this discussion will all come, when we study the knowledge part of it. But anyway, the idea is that you can look upon yourself as consciousness. That is the way of meditation. So Bheda Bhavanat Soham Saha He I am Iti Bhavana, this spirit or this contemplation, this perception is considered to be the best. Pavani Mata, because it is Pavani. This kind of meditation is considered to be very purifying. It removes all impurities. Any meditation removes impurities. But the one that is most effective in removing impurities is this meditation based on non-duality. Because the greatest impurity is this duality. That you are different and I am different. That division is a cause of all problems. Of course, that duality is a product of ignorance, but as long as that is there, that division is, I look upon you as different from me and me as different from you. That creates all problems. And therefore, looking upon myself as yourself, what problem can there be? So in bhakti or love, the ultimate goal is to achieve oneness. Two persons who love each other may be different from each other at the level of body. At the level of soul, they can be one. So love is that binding factor which binds and eliminates the duality. Similarly, bhakti or love for the Lord is meant to eliminate duality. But love calls for sacrifice, calls for two persons can become one when each of them sacrifices or offers their individuality, their likes and dislikes, their demands and expectations, their ego. Therefore, devotion involves offering, sacrificing, surrendering. And the highest sacrifice or highest surrender is surrendering your ego, the sense of smallness. Therefore, this very attitude of non-duality slowly and slowly dilutes the strength born of the notion of duality. And ultimately, it eliminates all duality. That duality is impurity. Ignorance is primary impurity, which brings our sense of individuality, brings about duality. So, abhida bhavana pavani mata. The abhida bhavana or the spirit of non-duality is considered to be pavani, meaning to be most purifying. Continuing, in the verse 9, So this meditation of non-duality, where does it lead you to? 9th verse says, Bhava shunya sad bhava sustiti. Sthiti. That's all. That's why Visarga is to be chanted. Visarga has no independent pronunciation. It is to be pronounced depending upon what vowel precedes it. Here, sthiti, E is the preceding vowel. So, ihi, aha, ehe, aihi, oho, au, aha. So that ha is joined with the previous vowel. Therefore, Visarga is pronounced in keeping with the preceding vowel. So here the preceding vowel is E, sthiti. So sthitihi. Elsewhere, where are we? For example, did we come across any other Visarga? For example, Uchamandataha, 6th verse. The A is there, so taha. That's how it is pronounced. Okay. So Ram, thus Ramaihi, etc. So Aihi, whatever is the preceding vowel. So similarly, so we should do justice, not just eat up that Visarga, Sthiti. No. In North India they chant that Sthiti. But the South Indians chant, and the proper way of chanting is Sthitihi. Bhava shunya sad bhava susthitihi. Bhavana balad bhaktiruttama. The last expression, bhakti uttama. This uttama bhakti, this is the most exalted devotion. So the devotion characterized by meditating upon the non-duality culminates into what? Bhavana balat. Bala means strength. Bhavana means that the spirit of non-duality described in the previous verse. Previous verse said, Abhida bhavana pavani mata. The spirit of non-duality is considered to be most purifying, most sacred. So the word bhavana means the same thing. Abhida bhavana. That spirit of non-duality, bhavana balat. Because of the strength of this bhavana, strength of maintaining this attitude or spirit of non-duality. See, normally my mind on its own only entertains the spirit of duality. Because that is what the mind knows. Therefore, habitually, I take myself to be a limited individual, confined to this body-mind sense complex. That's what perception I'm born with. And therefore, I also take the world outside the body as different from me, and I different from the world. So you are different from me, I'm different from you, Ishvara is different from you, Ishvara is different from me. This is called dualities. So 5 kinds of duality they talk about, by the way. One duality is that Jagat, the world, which is Jadam inert, is different from I, who is a sentient being. One sentient being, one Atma, different from other sentient being. You see? I am self, you are self, but I am the self different from you. Again, the self and non-self are different from each other. One non-self and other non-self also are different from each other. Chair is different from table, etc. Then this Jagat or Jada is different from Ishvara. And I am also different from Ishvara. So, 5 kinds of dualities. This is what our life is. Meaning that we are born with this perception. And therefore, we give reality to this duality. As long as we give reality to something, it will ever persist. So, what perpetuates duality is not that it is real, but because I consider it real. So, we give reality to the duality, and that's how it perpetuates. Meaning that the so-called duality, its life, hangs upon my taking it to be real. Because there is no duality between one ornament and another ornament. But the ornament continues to look upon itself as one different from others, so long that separatedness will persist. When the ornament starts meditating, I am gold, I am gold, I am gold. Whether it is become real or not, but I am gold. I am not this name and form, I am gold. I am non-separate from gold, I am one with gold. Then the hold that the duality has slowly becomes loosened. Ornament, all the time thinking that I am an ornament, I am a bangle, I am a bangle. Without any effort, that goes on. We don't have to make an effort. The bangle does not have to make an effort to think that I am a bangle. Or I don't have to make an effort that I am an individual ego. That is habitual, it will go on. Meaning that that thought always persists. It doesn't require an effort. It's habitual. But that I am Ishvara, I am consciousness. No, that a new habit has to be created. That is why meditation is a conscious effort. Meditation is not just thinking, but a deliberate, desirable thinking. Because to think is the nature of mind anyway. And if you do not do anything, the mind will automatically think, because it gives reality to duality, it always thinks itself as different from others. Therefore, I deliberately now create this new habit. I am Brahman. I am Brahman. I am Brahman. Which I am, by the way. Like an ornament, creating a new habit. I am gold. I am gold. I am gold. Even if it is an attitude, still that attitude is based on reality. An attitude based on reality will someday become a reality. Similarly, even my attitude that I am Brahman, Soham, 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 that's a meditation. Meaning that I repeat that formula in my mind, Soham, that I am, that I am, that I am. Not that I am a meditator only, that I am. So I deliberately repeat that formula. And that time then my habitual identification with the body, because of which I take myself as a limited being, that habit is broken. You follow what I am saying? If habitually I am accustomed to sitting in this hunchback position like this, yoga teacher Swamiji sit like this, that your posture is not right. You have all kinds of aches and pains. Sit like this. As long as I'm conscious, I do. Then again I go back. Again I pick up. So now, without effort, I sit like this. To sit correctly, I have to make an error. This is called yoga. Correcting the habitual error. So we have a habitual error of thinking Habitual error of taking the duality as real. Habitual error of taking my limitation as real. Myself as a limited being. This is my habitual thinking. So here Ramana Maharshi says, no, Soham. Tell you, remind you, Soham, I am that. Mind says, I am Ahankara, I am ego, I am insignificant, I am limited, I am no good. All kinds of complexes. Soham, Soham, that I am, that I am, that I am. Soham, Soham. Thus we are deliberately creating a new habit of thinking, which will slowly and slowly loosen that hold of that old habit. That is all, this is what we need to do. There may be a habit of telling lies. Sometimes some people cultivate that habit. Then we have to cultivate a new habit of speaking truth. If I don't pay attention, I will tell a lie. I must pay attention. Time comes, speak truth, speak truth, speak truth. And thus, by the right habit, I slowly become free from the hold of the wrong habits. So meditation is a deliberate way of thinking. My habitual way of thinking is, I am an ego, I am ahankara, I am limited. Therefore, this new deliberate way of thinking, Soham, I am that I am, that I am, that I am, the limitless I am. So this gathers a momentum, you follow? When you do something repeatedly, then it gathers a momentum. Not doing it once in a while, doing repeatedly. Dirgha Kala, Nairantariya, Adara Yoga Shastra says that any success in any endeavor requires Dirgha Kala, doing it for a long time. Nairantariya, doing it constantly. Adara, doing it with commitment and devotion. So this Soham, 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 Dirgha for a long time. Nirantariya, constantly. Adarena, with devotion, with enthusiasm, with commitment. When I do that, it gathers a momentum. So this new thought gathers momentum. That's called bala, or the strength. And we want to overtake that momentum of the habitual error by making this new habit so strong that it overtakes the old habit. And you ultimately become free from the old habits. So this is meditation. This is yoga or meditation. So second line of the verse is Bhavana Balat. Balat, by the strength, by the momentum of Bhavana, of the attitude of non-duality, the spirit of non-duality. Soham, 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 that I am, that I am, that I am. My mind says, I am ego. No, Soham. Ego, Soham. So when this pattern or flow of thought called meditation, Balat gathers a momentum, gathers a strength. What does it do? Bhava shunya sat bhava susthiti. Slowly the idea of duality, that I am Ishvara is different, I am different. He is infinite, I am finite. So these are the thoughts automatically involved, and thus this attitude of duality is a built-in attitude. As Swami says, one wealth that we have brought with us is ignorance. So we need not have to do anything for being ignorant. And from this ignorance are born variety of notions. Because of ignorance. Not only I do not know what my true nature is, that I am limitless, but because of ignorance, I take myself to be a limited being. This ignorance is dangerous. It's not just absence of knowledge. It is false knowledge. That is very dangerous. Not knowing something is not so bad, but knowing something wrongly causes all kinds of problems. So not knowing myself is not a big problem. Just as in deep sleep state, I have no knowledge of myself. It is at that time there is no problem, no conflict, no stress, no sorrow. As soon as I wake up and declare myself to be so and so, all the problems begin. And so ignorance gives rise to this wrong notion of my being a limited entity. How does that notion arise? On account of habitual identification with my body, mind, sense complex. Although, and all this discussion will come, but this is what ignorance does. Identifying with that which I am not, the body, mind, etc. I am not. They are non-self. But I habitually identify with them. I take the body to be myself, mind to be myself. And so, this notion born of that identification is called ego, ahankara. Which ahankara has so many complexes. I am a mortal being, it says. What is mortal? The body is mortal. The body has birth. The body has death. But because of identification body, the self says, I am born, I am going to die. All doership belongs to this body-mind complex. But because of identification, the self says, I am the doer. All experiencership or enjoyership also belongs to the body-mind sense complex. The self is merely presence. The true nature of myself is consciousness, which is just the presence, in presence of which everything happens. However, on account of identification, I superimpose upon myself the attributes of the non-self, and thus I look upon myself as a doer, enjoyer, mortal, limited, insignificant, lacking, wanting. All these various complexes are built in. I don't have to make an effort for them. They are already there. Unfortunately, because of my experiences, all these complexes only become stronger. That's all. The world constantly makes me feel that I'm insignificant. Well, Swami, that's all. You got tired. That's all you can walk. Or you can't climb. Something like that, I'm brought back to my sense of insignificance. You can't remember that? That's all forgotten. Insignificance, inferior. Meaning that the way we are living our life, there is no possibility that these complexes will go away. In fact, these complexes go on becoming stronger and stronger. As I live life, I become more and more miserable. If I don't live life intelligently, which most people don't, unfortunately. What Vedanta calls intelligently. The world has its own definition of intelligence, but what Vedanta calls intelligence. So this is called bhava, these complexes are already there. But then this constant meditation, soham, soham, that I am, that I am, that I am. As that gathers momentum, the momentum of this complex is slowly and slowly is overcome. My mind is insignificant, I am, soham, limitless I am. I am so and so, soham. I am miserable, soham. So how that one statement or an effort on my part to identify with Saha or him or that, how that has the ability to slowly and slowly weaken, loosen, weaken the complexes and ultimately destroy them. This process should go on for a long time, of course. Doesn't happen overnight. Because we have not gathered these complexes overnight. These complexes are coming with us from the time beginningless. Meaning that I am born with this. When I am born with habit means I must have that habit earlier also, in the previous birth. Then also I was born with habit, now I must have. So, Swami, when did this begin? We love a situation when this was not there, When did this begin? Vedanta gives a very frustrating answer. He says there is no beginning. Now that does not satisfy anybody. I know that. He wants to know when, Swami. Tell us what process happened. If there is a beginning, understand this. If there is a beginning of ignorance, then what existed before that? Knowledge. How can ignorance come when there is knowledge? When did the darkness begin? In a cave. At such and such time. Meaning, what was there in the cave before darkness? Light. If light is in the cave, how can darkness come back? Come. You follow? So ignorance cannot have a beginning. And the whole universe is a product of ignorance. It cannot have a beginning. This logically we can say. But Swamiji, they say that the universe was created 14 billion years ago. But that was only this cycle of creation. This is the first cycle of creation. It's an ongoing process. Very frustrating to hear this. Not getting a satisfactory answer. But if you get a satisfactory answer, it will create 100 unsatisfactory problems. Really? But then why? Oh, because this fellow put ignorance in you. Why did he do that? What have I done? Because you did this. But why did I do that? But who put ignorance in me, I did something because I was ignorant. Why was ignorant? Because I did something. Why was there? Because ignorance. All infinite regression. So understand that even if somebody thinks that that person is intelligent and can give an answer, that cannot be an answer to this question. This morning's my chicken first or egg first, So by putting this question, people think they are very intelligent. What a question. I said they are always there. Both are always there. So where is the question of first? There. There is no beginning. I am saying this so that you do not get frustrated in trying to find why. Because basic question is why me? Why also does nothing matter to us really. Who cares when it began? It doesn't matter. What matters is I. And what matters is that I am going through what I am going through. Why? That is the problem. Why am I going through this? That is the problem. Not about when the world began. But I can understand what I am going through only when I can understand when this thing began. That is why those questions arise. Understand this. All questions arise because of my concern about myself. I am not concerned about anything. You become a matter of concern to me when I feel that you have something to contribute in my life. You have something to contribute. You can be useful. Then you become a matter of concern. Otherwise, who cares for these trees and stones and this and that? Who cares for them? I don't even look at them. They don't matter to me. Whether they are there or not doesn't matter to me. Because what matters to us is ourselves. So understand, when a question arises, ask, why am I asking this question? That will be a good idea. Ultimately, question will dissolve into I. I have some problem. I want to know why that problem is. And therefore I am asking, when did this begin? Why is there ignorance? Why is it? Because why am I what I am? Why am I unhappy? If I am happy, there is no question also again. Nobody says, why am I happy, Swamiji? Nobody has yet asked that question. They always say, why this to me, Swamiji? Why should this happen to me? When something painful happens. When something pleasant happens, nobody says, why? Why me? That I am supposed to be. Pleasant things are supposed to happen to me. Why a painful thing should happen? So we only ask selected questions. We don't ask all questions. So Vedantin does not worry about when this thing began and stuff like that. Don't waste your time. If you have time to waste, you can do what you want to do, but it's a waste of time. So focus your attention on what. Not why, but what. Even science doesn't explain why, it will tell you what. Because even if you know when it began, so what? This is what is today is there, you have to deal with it anyway, isn't it? Even if you know why, it's not going to change what is. You have to deal with it anyway. So all these complexes, which are born of ignorance, and they were all complexes, are all false perception about myself. And because I look at the world through my own eyes, therefore I also have false perception about the world. And again I look at God also through my perception, therefore false perception about God. Because each one of us is a bundle. Our Swamiji says, who is an individual, who is an ahankara? Nothing but a bundle of these notions. Notions centered on I, meaning that false notions about myself, false notions about the world, false notions about God. This is what I am. But this right thing, soham, 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 soham. Keep on asserting what is right. What is wrong cannot last forever. Satyameva jayate, Upanishad says, the truth alone wins. Nanrutam, untruth or falsehood does not win. Asserting the truth. That is why the saints tell us, repeat God's name. For the bhaktas, not soham. Ram, 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 whatever. Krishna, Hari, Narayan, Hari, Narayan, Hari. What do they do in Maharashtra, Vithala is okay, but then there is also this. So, even repeating that name, whatever name you want, Hari, Narayana, you are asserting Ishvara's supremacy. You are asserting the truth. So that is why repeating name also creates a momentum. Where every time you say Ram, 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 Rama means truth, ultimately. Saha. So Saha, he alone is. So Sat, as these Punjabi Sikhs say, that Sat alone is real. We call it Sat, existence, call it Chit, call it Rama, call it Krishna. So repeating this name also has that effect of loosening the hold of wrong repetition. Because wrongly our mind keeps repeating, whether you try or not. Mind keeps on repeating, I am so and so, I am so and so. In every thought that is always involved. In every action that is involved. All our actions are expression, I am so and so, I am so and so, I am so and so. Meaning that repetition is going on constantly. Therefore, you have to deliberately introduce this repetition. Soham, soham, soham. Not only just repeat as mantra, see the meaning. This meditation is not merely repeating soham, that I am. See the meaning. See the meaning. So, bhavana balat, on account of the momentum that you gain as a result of this meditation, soham, those other complexes slowly and slowly become loosened and loosened. You know the meaning of the word Upanishad? Upa, Ni and Sad. Upa in the sense of proximity. Ni in the sense of certain knowledge. Sad is the verb root which has these three meanings. One is Gati, Visharanam, Avasadhanam. Loosening, destroying, and making you reach the goal. So, Shithilikaranam. Visharanam means Shithilikaranam, loosening. Avasadhanam, destroying. Gati, and therefore helping you reach your goal. So this bhakti, soham, 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 it loosens these notions. That Swami aham, Swami aham, Swami aham. Small I am, small I am, small I am. Loosening, ultimately destroying. Meaning that ultimately, as a result, the mind becomes completely free from all complexes, all notions. It is replaced by this knowledge or this reality, soham. So this is the path of meditation, which Ramana Maharshi calls a path of devotion. Because in devotion is involved surrender. In this meditation also involves surrender of your limited ego. Every time you say, I am limitless, there is surrender. Bhava shunya, sadbhava susthiti. When all notions go away. So first line, bhava shunya, no, that bhava is his notions. Bhava shunya, a state of mind which is free from all these notions or all these complexes. So I am so and so. If all notions go away, what remains? You remain. Sadbhava susthiti. Sat means existence, or truth, or reality, of the self. Sadbhave, that's so many bhava, what are that? That's sadrupe. Sadbhava, in the nature of myself. Susthiti. What is susthiti? Abidance. Abidance in my true nature. So on account of the momentum that you gather, by this constant meditation of Soham, that I am, the various complexes born of giving reality to duality, they become loosened and loosened. Ultimately, they get destroyed. And thus, mind is filled with Soham. That becomes natural now. Susthiti means abidance. Ultimately, this becomes happy. This effort leads to a state which requires no effort. Like a river wants to reach the ocean. Effort, effort, effort. But all that effort culminates into what? Merging into ocean, where there is no effort required anymore. Isn't it? So our mind is like that river. When it becomes one with Soham, Saha, when all obstacles are gone, all complexes are gone, then there is an effortless state of mind where it abides in its own nature. Mind always abides in the self. That ornament always abides in gold, whether it knows it or not. But the denying that abidance by insisting that I am a bangle, I am a bangle, I am a bangle. Say, come on, repeat, I am gold, I am gold, I am gold. So I am bangle, I am round, and I am small, and I am different, and I am not shining, I am old. So many complexes bangle can have. Because it keeps on striking and therefore becomes shapeless sometimes. It gathers all oxidation, therefore it may lose its glitter. So poor Bengal can have many complexes. I'm gold, I'm gold, I'm gold. Becomes free from all those complexes when it abides in the knowledge that I'm gold. Even river has many complexes. That I'm only limited. I'm confined to these two banks. Poor thing tries hard, to break those banks, but it is confined. So river also suffers from a sense of confinement. When it merges into ocean, all that confinement goes. So either river has to merge into ocean. That is called meditation. What is knowledge? Without merging also, river can recognize that I am water. There is no need to merge. So both have the same results. Either you merge and become ocean, or without merging you recognize that you are water. There is also consent of ocean. The river says, I am ocean, I am ocean, I am ocean. Bhava shunya sadbhava susthiti. Susthiti. So sushtu sthiti. Very well. Sthiti means abidance. Susthiti, very well abidance. Where? Sadbhave. In the sat, in the nature of the self. In the truth that is oneself. Bhava shunya. Devoid of all the complexes. Devoid of all the notions. Devoid of the complex that I am a meditator, even that complex also is no more remains. Even the distance or duality between the meditator and meditator also completely resolves, and you abide in the non-dual self that you are. So this kind of meditation, soham, ultimately leads you to abidance in saha, or your true nature. Because all those complexes were born of ignorance. Ignorance cannot last when you assert knowledge. Keep on asserting soham, 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 which is born of reality, which is real. Those notions born of ignorance or not real cannot last forever. They will fight hard. It's not easy. They will fight hard, but ultimately they have to give way. Bhakti Ruttama. Ramana Maharshi says, this is Uttama Bhakti. This is the most exalted devotion. What is it? Abidance in your own self. So this meditation, which ultimately culminates into abiding in your true nature, is the most exalted bhakti, the most exalted devotion. So, Ramana Maharshi is describing all the paths. He discussed karma, now discussing bhakti, then he'll discuss yoga, then he'll discuss jnana. And from what appears apparently is that they think that each of the paths can lead you to the goal. This is being true to this text. You have the freedom to interpret the text as you want. Whereas this text says Bhakti Ruttama. As a result of the meditation also, you reach an abidance in your true nature. Okay, we'll continue in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम।